Check 1 2, check 1 2. Welcome to Fifi Quest, everybody. I am Fifi Dash, the host of this little ham radio show. The little ham radio show that documents my Fifi Dash's transition from male to female. And boy, do we got a hot one coming in today, everybody. Ooh, I got hot takes flying every which way, because I know you think that civil unrest and defunding the police and an unprecedented pandemic that, now turns out you couldn't pass by touch or breathing around or not if you're asymptomatic, that was a hoax all along. I have a more important news story for you. The wizard lady was mean to us. That's right. Fucking J.K. Rowling said some mean shit about trans people again. This fucking bitch. I tell you, Joanne. Even Orson Scott Card has cut the shit by now. Okay? The insane, fascist, faggot-hating Mormon has been like, you know what, I got better shit to do, okay, sirrah, sirrah. I think maybe you can too, Joanne. God almighty, this bitch, I tell you. I feel like I should clear this up right out of the beginning, because look, I don't know who all listens to this is trans, or who all this, just got the right genitals right out of the box, but I'm gonna tell you what the deal is, okay? J.K. Rowling, tweeted a bunch of shit, in the middle of the people's uprising against the jackbooted police, mind you. She tweeted some shit about okay, first of all, there was some BBC article about COVID-19 has become a particular challenge for people who menstruate. And the goddamn magic lady took umbrage to that. Like, she said something like, there used to be a word for people who menstruate. What was it again? Women? Was that it? Like, oh, 'cause every girl in the world menstruates. You know a woman who didn't menstruate? JK over there in the UK? Fucking Margaret Thatcher. Alright? Her uterus was dry as a bone, and she still managed to slaughter hundreds of Irish people in the name of your great nation. Furthermore to that point, you know who else menstruates that doesn't just fall under the definition of a woman? Trans men who don't have their penises yet. They menstruate. Did you know that? Probably not. I didn't know that. I didn't ever think about it. It never occurred to me. You know why? 'Cause trans men don't fucking complain about it as much as you. Jeez Louise. You're a grown woman, okay? Unless you're in 5th grade and your period happened in gym class, quit your belly aching about it. Quit your clam cramping about it. God, like, it's the most important. Women are the ones who menstruate. This is what women do. Like, just get over it. God, you've had how many years to make it a normal part of your deal? Okay? I gotta tuck my balls. I gotta tuck my balls back into my body every day, Joanne. You don't hear me whining about it in my studio apartment, do ya? Okay, alright. And then another thing she said was she goes, well, I support everybody and everyone ought to have the right to do whatever they want, but biological sex is important. Let me explain something to you, you cisgendered people. Biological sex is important too. That's our Black Lives Matter. No, take two. Guys, biological sex is important too. That's our all lives matter, okay? It's a way of saying something that's benign and technically true when really what you really want to say is go fuck yourself, okay? It is important too. It's one of those sentences. It's like, again, it's true on paper, but why would you say it out loud? It only ever comes out at the oddest times that make you raise an eyebrow. It's like if someone just out of the blue at a picnic said, Mein Kampf is a real slug until halfway in. You'd be like, oh, that's an odd thing to say at this picnic. Wouldn't you say? Because then they can always counter with like, well, are you saying Hitler was a great writer, Fifi? Maybe you're, the prejudiced one. I see you, JK. God. Then she's just something like, well, I think that my experience was shaped by being born a woman. What, no, oh. Your experience was shaped by being a white woman in the UK, was it? You hear that, everyone? This white, cisgendered straight lady from a rich country had to wait till her 40s to be a billionaire. You hear that, Frederick Douglass, you fucking loser? My experience was shaped by being a woman. These are the kinds of women that they think, like, they're like the SLC punk of women. They think like, you're not real enough for me. That's not real punk. We were really there, man. It's just like they're the kind of women who think like their whole experience is just defined by suffering, and it's defined by how unfair it is, and my life has been unfair for longer than you, which, by the way, that's debatable at best. God. Again, I think I would trade having my first period at a sleepover to be in the right fucking body my whole life, Joanne. God, this bitch. She's, that's... Women like her, that's what it's really about. It's like, they hate being a woman so much so that they equate it with, like, my experience was shaped by a woman. Being a woman is suffering to them. And it's not to us. It's delightful to us. And that's why they can't fucking stand us, okay? Because they were born women and they hate it. We weren't. We have to pay a luxury car amount of money to get there, and we're happy as pigs and shit about it. Okay? God almighty. So that's what we're upset about, cisgender people. That's why I know she might tweet things that are on the surface are like, what's the problem with that? That doesn't sound like the craziest thing. Maybe a little is. It is. Because why would you say that unless you fucking hate us? That's what it is. And I know why. I know why, too. I'll tell you right this. Here's the thing you don't hear about J.K. Rowling all that often. She is smart, obviously. She wrote a very successful series of books, but she was poor for most of her life. Guys, there's nothing more resentful than a broke smart person. Alright? Smart people think they can fucking figure life out and it's all gonna unfold before them. And they can't. They fucking can't, so if they're poor, they get pissed off. They get pissed off at people who are stupid as shit, but they are open to the love of life, and people like them, and they have good personalities, unlike the dorks that resent them so much, and life unfolds themselves for them. And that's why they hate people. Yeah, and I'll tell you how this relates to trans people. Because that would mean for these smart people to be happy, they would have to look deep inside themselves and go, wow, something foundational about my whole being is incorrect. And I'd have to not only face that, but then do something about it. Guess what trans people do? We do that. Our fucking genders are wrong. And we face it and we move on. She's not even willing to add it that she's, like Mark Zuckerberg in the movie. You're not hated because you're smart. You're hated because you're an asshole. And that's why no one likes you. You hear that, nerd? You uppity nerd. That's the whole thing about J.K. Rowling. She has enough money to pay Jesus Christ to go punch a special needs child right in the mouth. And even still, if she tried to go be prom queen, they would laugh her ass out of the room until she cried into her trapper keeper and started picking at her back acne. God, I'm boiling here. That's the thing. That's the thing about her. You're a mean dork. You're not a lovable, oh, woe is me, I was bullied dork. You're a mean dork. That's why people don't like you. That's why you were broke for most of your life. You think you're a Gryffindor, but the Sorting Hat would give you a yearbook club. And furthermore, you know what? You're successful as a children's author, not an adult author, so I know you're pissed about that. You ever hear about A.A. Milne and how he was furious that Winnie the Pooh made him famous and rich and no one read his shitty World War I novels? And he knows for the rest of his life, no one liked his serious stuff, but he's just famous for his faggoty little bear stories. That's you, Joanne. A children's author. You ask me, that's one step above being a teacher. And teachers are shit. You got that? I'll say it. I'll say it right here in this podcast. I'll say it while we're defunding the police. I'll say it. Teachers suck. Don't give them any of the cop money. Look, I'm goofing around for most of this. But I'll tell you right now, I firmly believe most elementary school teachers are unapproachable, half-intelligent nerds with repellent personalities, and the only way they can get people to listen to them is if they're tiny and can't leave. Yeah, get outraged. Go think about your elementary school teachers and then tell me I'm not right. Oh, yeah, it's just... The fact that she's resentful at us trans people makes perfect sense to me. Perfect sense to me. And I don't buy it one bit. You're unhappy. You're unhappy. You're a billionaire and no one likes you. You're unhappy. Something's fundamentally wrong inside. You don't have the balls to look at it and change it. Trans people are living examples of that. And that's why you don't like us. This bitch. I was shaped by being a woman. I was probably shaped by, you're like the punk guy who hung out with you when you were 15 and he's 25 and you're like, hey man, this guy's cool, he's rad. And then you get a little older and you're like, why was this 25-year-old hanging out with 15-year-olds outside of the Rise Against concert that we couldn't get into? You know, now he's 32. He's very excited about Rage Against the Machine coming to the Pocatello Fairgrounds. He still gives the middle finger in photographs even though he has a receding hairline. That's you, JK. You know what, trans people? Read Robin Hobb instead. Okay? She's great fantasy, that bitch. And you know what? She wrote a million goddamn assassin novels. It's about magic and ninja shit and hidden doors and pirate zombies. What's not to like? And she's from Berkeley. She was goddamn social justice in when our parents were filling their goddamn baby boomer diapers. Oh, yeah. And and can I just, as long as I'm talking about turf shit, can I just point out this whole idea I just think that people who are born women should have a safe space from people who were not, from people who transitioned but weren't born as women. Okay, we're not gonna do shit to you, okay? JK, you made trans people cry because you ruined Harry Potter for them. I'm going to suggest the radical suggestion that you don't need a safe space from people who cry over Harry Potter. Okay?
What if a man dresses up as a lady and sneaks into my sacred fucking bathroom, which is just as goddamn disgusting as any man's bathroom in the world? And what if they try to rape me?
Hey, here's one for you, TERFs. We don't get boners anymore. Okay? Second of all, no one's gonna rape you in a public bathroom. A public bathroom? Really? With foot traffic in and out? With just your screams echoing across the linoleum walls? Are you familiar with rape? You don't... You say you are, but you don't sound like it. Yeah. TERFs are the least feminine women I've ever encountered in my life. Real quick, ask a TERF what she does to be attractive to her partner, and then just watch her fumble around for the next 5 minutes. That bitch will fucking spin on the floor and do the curly run in a circle. She'll spaz out so much. They don't like being women. They don't like their own sexuality. They don't feel in their own bodies. I got a bald spot and a penis, and I like being a woman more than you. How do you like them apples? Oh, yeah. Yep. They can't stand being women, and we love it. We trans girls do, and boy, does that piss them off. Ugh. Imagine being a billionaire and caring about this shit. Imagine. Ridiculous. So everyone, I welcome all transgendered former Harry Potter fans. I'll tell you this. I got soft on you guys, okay? Because since I was 10 years old, I was screaming from the rooftops that Harry Potter is for dweebs and Pokemon dorks. Lord of the Rings is where it's at. Magic the Gathering is where it's at, okay? I invite you, former trans fans of Harry Potter, join me in the darker, gracier section of the comic book store, where we are playing these more mature nerd things. Does that stringy-haired kid have pocket knives? You bet he does. Enough to go around. You can use them to trim your eyebrows in these trying quarantine times.
I was shaped by being born a woman.
Do you really think that's the stupidest argument? It's like, well, you had male privilege for your life. Do you think we were enjoying it? Really? That kind of belies a lot, It's like, just be it. Like, do you just not feel anything? So feeling in any kind of body just makes no difference to you, huh? You'd have to think that. This bitch. I'll have you know, it sucks shit being in the wrong body, alright? I don't know what it's like to grow up a woman in America. Oh God, what is it like growing up a woman in the fucking developed Western world, yo? It must be the worst. Especially now. Point that out now, how about ya? It's not so great being born in the wrong body, even if you get to have I somehow got all the male privilege from it. It makes me want to snap sometimes. You guys, there's riots going on outside. I have wanted to join them and pretend like I'm down for social justice. But really what I would be doing is macing cops because I didn't get to be a cheerleader. And then later on in the day, they discovered the American Girl store mysteriously got looted. Baloney. Holy crap, that was 20 minutes of ranting about J.K. Rowling. I don't even give a shit about those books. I really don't. I'm all fired up today. So here's the thing, gang. Trying to order some new dresses, and it's tough because, I don't want to be shimmying and shaking and returning stuff all the time because it's a pain in the ass with the quarantine going on. So I just go by stuff that I know fits me. I know Forever 21's size fits me, but goddamn if they don't make the sluttiest dresses you've ever seen. Feel like my balls are gonna roll out, okay? Give me more than a 1/16 of an inch of testicle give room on behalf of some of your T-girl customers. What are you really mad about, Fief? What are you really mad about? My dang voice hurts, you guys. It did. Went out to a hike on Saturday or Sunday after Malibu. I ended up crying in a field because I'm lonely. I miss people. Miss people a whole lot. By the way, just for some LA updates, I believe in the last episode where I was talking about the protests going on outside, I may have described Chief Michael Moore as a, quote, sweetheart. Boy, do I want that one back, everybody. That guy sucks so bad. I believe he said George Floyd's death, and I quote, was, I believe he said the looters were, quote, just as much to blame for George Floyd's death as Officer Colvin, or whatever her name was. Oofta! Be careful who you compliment. Just because someone seems nice doesn't mean they are. I ought to know that. I live in Los Angeles. You know what? That's not fair to say. That is not fair to say. If anywhere owns up to people being fake, it's the gosh dang Midwest. And you all know what I'm talking about. Yeah, fucking strangers, tired, changing, casserole bacon dweebs. Real talk, though. Real talk. I read that Minneapolis is going to disband its police department temporarily, maybe permanently. That's cuckoo bananas, but you know what? I believe in it because I believe in Minnesotans. Minnesota is one of the few places in the world where you have real liberal people. They care about other people very much, and they want to take care of everyone. They want to expend resources and energy to do it, and they're not sanctimonious about it at all. Minnesota is one of those states where it's like, I think in 84, where like literally Ronald Reagan won like 49 states and like one state went to Mondale. I believe that was Minnesota. Anyway. It's good to share with you guys. Feeling a little dysphoric lately, I actually have a whole, have a meeting with the endocrinologist next week, and hopefully I'm gonna up my estrogen and testosterone blockers, because it's just, when you start a journey, anything is possible, and that's a really magical, fun time. And as you go further along, the end, one of the drawbacks of the end looking a little closer is the distance between it looking a little more clear as well, and that can be a little disheartening. You know, guys, I've been looking at a lot of things I want to do. I want my face to look different. I want to grow breasts. I want to get my hair removal. I want to grow my hair out on my head and want to get better in makeup. I invested in a lot of makeup for myself recently. Kind of went not all out, but an amount that I don't spend frivolously, that's for sure. So I feel good about that. To me, that's concrete evidence that I'm taking care of myself. And you know what? I was just talking to a friend right before this, and she said that I really ought to take the time to acknowledge what I do well, because if I don't, I just get bogged down in that I gotta energy, and I can't receive love from there. And I definitely don't feel feminine when I'm doing that crap. I don't know if you describe that kind of feeling as masculine, but it definitely isn't feminine. Not to me. You know, earlier tonight, a friend of mine who lives in Hollywood, I just happened to call him over the weekend, and I just said it's just been a struggle for me, because, you know, a lot of big things happening in the world, and a lot of big things happening in my world, and COVID has forced me into a lot of loneliness, and it's been hard. And he was a really sweet guy, and he said, do you want to just go hang out tonight? And we did. And we just, we hung out outside my apartment, watched the sunset, and, it's funny, you guys, because I've talked about, excuse me, about how thinking more positively about the world really makes my world more positive, reflected back to me. This weekend, I went out to go run some errands, and LA was, frankly, scary looking. A lot of places are boarded up, you know, there's graffiti a lot of the places. There's a lot of aftermath from the protests. There are lots of police around, and a lot of places that didn't have protests around them were boarding up anyway in case the protests get to them, and it was scary. And I was walking home, and in my car I actually got a panic attack because I had been alone for a little too long, and I got really scared. And when I was walking from my car to my house, a car stopped and was like, hey, what's up? Hey, you want to get in? Probably thinking that I'm a hooker. And look, before you get all offended by my half, I'm a trans girl wearing leopard print in East Hollywood. Not an unreasonable assumption on this dude's part. But, I would prefer not to be spoken to that way. And I felt bad. But then when I talked to my friend, we sat outside that same neighborhood in the same spot, and we talked and we shared and had a nice time. And boy, did the sunset look beautiful. And boy, did everyone walking around us seem really nice and sweet. And we were saying hi to everyone and petting people's dogs. And, same physical place, but a very different mindset out of me and expectations and lens of looking through the world really made my outside world a lot better. So that was concrete evidence enough for me. So, anyway, I guess that's Fifi Quest for this week, everybody. Hey guys, if you are, I'm gonna ask you, if you guys are a regular listener to the show, first of all, thank you. I really appreciate you. If you want to tweet about the show, post about it, I would really, really be thankful to you. Just trying to get out to as many podcasts as possible. Shout out to Craig Conant, appeared on his lovely program recently. Thanks very much for that. Shout out to Jessica Michelle Singleton at the Ignorance is Blessed podcast. Shout out to Stuart and Luke of the Late Night podcast. Love you guys. Thanks for having me on. And shout out to Jay Light for having me on Blockbusting, where I'm going to be talking about, that's a show that deconstructs movies, and I talk about how I don't like The Danish Girl. I don't dislike it. I just goof on it for fun. And, yeah, if you guys want to subscribe on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, if you want to send me an email at fifiquestpodcast@gmail.com, I will happily read it on the show. So, love you guys. Do your self-care. Take care of your spiritual health. Love you guys. Bye.